Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, brought to you by BETDSI, and I'm your host, Mitchell Renz. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at MitchellRenz365 for the latest Raiders news and rumors. I got 6 rumors for y'all, and I think you're going to like these because especially the last one, little teaser, it's going to be a good one. And the first one coming up here on the board is Raiders, are they going to draft Kyler Murray? And this one's 2 Chucky heads, and people are talking, and our good friends here at the show, BetDSI, they released some odds on who's going to basically have Kyler Murray week 1 of the 2019 season, and the Raiders actually have the highest odds. And Heisman Trophy winner Kyler Murray, right? He's also drafted by the Oakland Athletics in the 9th round, and he's got a great problem to have, and I think all the aspiring athletes would love to be able to be like, do I want to go to the NFL? Or do I want to go to the MLB? And I think it would be a great problem to have. And when you just look at this past year, that what he did at Oklahoma, it's absolutely incredible. 69% completion percentage. Good work there, Kyler. 4,361 yards, 42 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Oh, wait, there's more. He did this on the ground. 140 carries, 1,001 yards, 12 touchdowns, and averaged 7.2 yards per carry. Maybe the dude should be a running back, right? So BetDSI was nice enough to give us these odds on where Murray's going to play in week 1 of the 2019 season. And the Raiders sitting there at plus 250 odds, the highest odds. And the next to the Jacksonville Jaguars at plus 300 odds. He's definitely better than Blake Bortles. Then the New York Giants at plus 350 odds. The Washington Redskins, who are going to be looking for a quarterback because Alex Smith's career is likely over, at plus 450 odds. And then here are the bottom 4 teams. The Arizona Cardinals at plus 500 odds. This one I don't really see happening. They just drafted Josh Rosen. I understand there's a lot of rumors going around it, but I definitely wouldn't put my money on the Cardinals. The Denver Broncos at plus 700 odds. Right now, BetDSI also released odds out on Flacco. I think Joe Flacco is going to end up going to the Broncos. The Miami Dolphins. I think there's another quarterback out there who I did a video on yesterday. Maybe you should go check it out. Cough, cough, Nick Foles. He could maybe go to the Dolphins. And then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bruce Arians has come out and said that he plans on sticking with Jameis Winston, so I wouldn't put my money on those plus 2,000 odds. But why do I think this is actually something that we're always talking about? And I know I've showed this graphic a few times here on the Raiders Report, but it's because Bo Jackson played for the Raiders, and he also played Major League Baseball, right? And Kyler Murray got drafted by the Oakland Athletics, and I've heard from numerous people that, he could just play in Oakland. He could play for the Athletics. They're AAA teams in Las Vegas. It's a perfect fit. I think that Kyler's doing the right thing by entering the NFL draft. Hell, he has nothing to lose besides just to enter it. And by the way, he's playing this out perfectly. Now, they both won Player of the Year, him and Bo. They both won the Heisman. Bo was drafted first overall in the MLB draft. Kyler's just obviously not very good, getting only drafted at 9th overall. And the NFL draft, Bo was drafted first, and I don't think Kyler was drafted first. But another comparison graphic I have is for somebody who was drafted first overall, and that's Baker Mayfield. When you look at what these 2 players did at their final season at Oklahoma, and both seasons won the Heisman, I mean, Baker got taken first overall, and he was one of the reasons why he was my top quarterback going into the draft, but Kyler Murray has more Baker had more passing yards, sure, by 300. Passing touchdowns, 42 to 43. Rushing yards, it's not even close. It's like my followers compared to Tom Downey's. And then rushing touchdowns, 12 to 5. And then Baker Mayfield was drafted first overall. Kyler Murray, I don't think he's going to get drafted first overall, but I do have a question on whether or not you think he's going to be a top 10 pick. I want you to type Y for yes or type N for no. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching this on Facebook, just comment below. Kyler Murray, worth top 10 pick, Y for yes, N for no. If you want to know what I think, DM me on Twitter at MitchellRenz365. Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and I'm your host, Mitchell Renz. Follow me on Twitter at MitchellRenz365. And remember, if you want to get on the show, you got to subscribe below to YouTube.com/The Raiders Report. It's the #1 show right now on YouTube, if I do say so myself, and I'm pretty proud of it. So go tell your friends. Let's get this channel to 10,000, and then I can even do even more shows for y'all. So again, subscribe below, YouTube.com/The Raiders Report. My next rumor here is around Antonio Brown, and is he going to be on the Oakland Raiders next season? And I just want to give a little shout out to Raiders Lifestyle on IG. We talked about this a little bit yesterday on Instagram Live, and it's going to be a popular topic. I mean, it's Antonio Brown. Sure, the dude's a big diva, but he's also one of the best, if not the best, wide receiver in the NFL. So is he going to be a Raider, right? I made you guys wait long enough. I think it's only one Chucky head. I just think it's a small shred of truth. I just ultimately do not believe that he is going to be a Raider. I think there's just a lot of other options here. And when I look at the odds that BETDSI released on where Antonio Brown's going to play, they're similar to my top 5 teams for AB that I released a few weeks ago on Main Chat Sports YouTube channel. Go check it out. And the top team, San Francisco 49ers. Jerry Rice has come out and said that Antonio Brown has told him that he really, really wants to be a 49er. The New York Jets there at plus 300 odds. They do have a lot of money to spend, but I think they're going to invest in another player that used to be a Steeler, Le'Veon Bell. The Buffalo Bills at plus 450. AB, please, please, please do not go to Buffalo. I still want you to at least be kind of reliable in fantasy. The Arizona Cardinals there at plus 500, and then the Colts. I would love to see Antonio Brown match up with Andrew Luck. That's Super Bowl caliber offense right there. Then you got the Houston Texans at plus 750. The Cleveland Browns at plus 1,000. I know Jarvis Landry's kind of hinted at AB a little bit to come on over. The Raiders at plus 1,000 odds. The Bears at plus 1,000 odds. And the Tennessee Titans at plus 1,500 odds. So let's just say you guys want to, be a little bit ballsy and you want to bet on the Raiders. You want to put down those plus 1,000 odds. So if you put down 1,000 odds on Antonio Brown to be a Raider, if you risk $10, you're going to win $100. Pretty good, right? Yeah, BETDSI. So you sign up on BETDSI, you put down $50, get 60 for free, put 10 of that to the Antonio Brown deal. Or Antonio Brown being a Raider. Why not? What do you got to lose? So where is Antonio Brown going to play? Wow, that was phrased horribly. Where will Antonio Brown play in 2019? I want to know from you. I want you guys to comment below. Do you think he's going to be a 49er, a Raider? Is he going to the Colts? I want you to comment below if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook. And if you don't know what I think, slide in my DMs at MitchellRenz365. Going to give a shout out to today's sponsor, BETDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. Use promo code LIVE120 for that 120% deposit bonus. You put down $50, you're going to get $60 for free. You put down $100, you'll get $120 for free. Be a big baller. Put down $500, get $600 for free. Shout out to BETDSI for hooking us up with the best promo code on the internet. My next rumor here is around the Oakland Raiders, and you notice how I said Oakland Raiders? Are they going to be in Oakland the 2019 season? I'm going to go out on a little bit of a limb here, and I'm going to give this one 3 Chucky heads, and I think it's pretty likely. And when I go back and look, the Raiders are still seeking somewhere to play their home games in 2019. We know this, right? And I hope that they are in Oakland, which is where they've played the last 24 seasons. So according to John Becker of the Bay Area News Group, the Raiders are willing to sit down with the city of Oakland one more time. Sit down with them one more time to discuss playing games at the Oakland Coliseum in 2019. Executive Director of the Coliseum Authority, Scott McKibben, stated, yes, there's still a possibility that there is an agreement that can be reached. I'm not sure what the odds are. Well, Scott, guess what? You know who does have the odds for you? Me. And I was nice enough to put them up here for you. Because if you don't know what the odds are for them playing in Oakland, guess what? I got you covered. Oakland at plus 120 odds here, according to BETDSI. The San Diego at plus 250. That was a rumor I talked about a little bit last week. Santa Clara, plus 400 odds. Phoenix, plus 500 odds. Raiders, Phoenix Raiders. That sounds horrible. Seattle Raiders sounds worse at plus 1,000. San Antonio Raiders, Portland Raiders, nope. Memphis, I'll pass on that. And then Toronto. I definitely don't want to play in Toronto. Drake's just going to jinx us there. We'll never win a game. St. Louis, London. I know there's been rumors around that. Plus 5,000. I wouldn't do that. The Field, plus 500. I gave it 3 Chucky heads for a reason. I think the Raiders are going to play in Oakland. But come on. This show is not about me. It's about you. Where will the Raiders play in 2019? I want to know. Comment below. YouTube, Facebook. Hit me up on Twitter. If you think they're going to be in Oakland, maybe I'll throw you a retweet if I'm feeling nice. My next rumor here on the board is around Tyrell Williams, and is he going to be a Raider in 2019? Now, the 26-year-old is going to be a free agent, which is good, right? I think he's a young receiver, big, tall receiver, could be a good fit for the Raiders. However, I'm giving this one only 1 Chucky head, and I think it's a small shred of truth. Now, I think he'd be a good fit. The Raiders obviously need wide receiver help, and if you can add a 26-year-old receiver who's 6'4", 205 pounds, if he can be reliable, at the end of the day, that's what I want. So he's from Western Oregon and has played the past 48 regular season games, which means he's reliable, topping 1,000 yards in 2016, and he scored 17 touchdowns during that time. At the end of the day, if we have the money and if we can maybe go out and get Tyrell Williams, who's also familiar playing in the AFC West, I obviously would not mind that too much. Here's the thing, though. At $9.6 million a year, that's his market value according to Spotrac. That's a little bit high for a player who's, I'll say a little bit unproven, but his highs have been great. But this past year, I don't really want you to look at his stats and just be like, oh, he only had 65 targets, only 41 receptions, 653 yards, and 5 touchdowns. I want you to keep in mind that there's a lot of mouths to feed for the Los Angeles Chargers, and it's one of the reasons why they were the better teams in the NFL. And you might hate to say that, but let's be realistic. They were one of the better teams in the NFL. If he can come over, be 6'4", a red zone monster for Derek Carr in this offense, I think I would like that. And you just keep it rolling here. And then the Raiders, all right, I gave my rumor on Tyrell Williams of whether or not he's going to be a Raider, but I want to know from you. I want to know how often you guys watch the show so you guys know the lingo. How many Chucky heads is this rumor? Tyrell Williams coming to the Raiders in 2019. How many Chucky heads is this rumor? Is it tuck rule, tuck that? Is it 1? Is it 2? Is it 3? Is it 4? Comment below. How many Chucky heads for this rumor? Speaking of heads, maybe I shouldn't go there. Shout out to Mizzen+Main for making me look great. Go to www.comfortable.af to see for yourself that these shirts are the best damn dress shirts you will ever buy. They hooked me up with a date a little bit, and I'm going to give that one 4 Chucky heads because guess what? Believe it, baby. My next rumor coming up here on the board, are the Raiders going to draft a running back in the first round of the 2019 NFL Draft? This one's tough for me to wrap my mind around. I'm going to give it 2 Chucky heads, and I think people are talking. Now, 2 different companies came out, and they had different mock drafts, and The Athletic came out and said that the Raiders are going to end up taking Joshua Jacobs at pick 27. Walter Football came out and said they're going to take Damien Harris at pick 27. And both of these running backs are talented, and I think that there is a need at running back for the Raiders. However, I think that there's a bigger need elsewhere, like the defense or wide receiver. I would rather them go that route instead of a running back. But I'm not Mike Mayock, and I don't have that decision. But maybe you guys can help persuade Mike Mayock a little bit once you see some of these stat cards. Joshua Jacobs this past year at Bama, 120 carries, 640 yards, 11 touchdowns. He averaged 5.3 yards per carry. And then his teammate, 139 carries, 819 yards, 9 touchdowns, 5.9 yards per carry. That's all great and all, right? I mean, they're running behind that offensive line. They're rolling tide. But I want you guys to look at the tail of the tape here in 2018 because sometimes it's not about stats. It's about how big they are. It's about measurables, and sometimes that's what you're going to see at the NFL Combine. So they're both, Joshua Jacobs 5'10", Damien Harris is 5'11", and then you look at weights, 216 to 215, very similar. Total yards, 887 for Jacobs, 1,080 for Harris. But touchdowns, Jacobs dominates with 14, 11 on the ground, 3 through the air, only 9 for Harris. But still, obviously very productive. They played at very good schools. But this rumor originally is, are the Raiders going to take a running back in round 1 of the 2019 NFL Draft? So I nudged my dude, Tom Downey, and I was like, hey, man, who are your top 5 running backs this year? Well, he's got Josh Jacobs at number 1, David Montgomery at 2, Miles Sanders at number 3 out of Penn State, Darrell Henderson, who I actually think could be a pretty sneaky player in the draft, and then Benny Snell. I know Tom loves him some Benny Snell. Now let's just say they don't even want to go in the draft. Maybe let's say they're not targeting any running backs, or one of their players that they wanted was taken right before their feet. Well, I did a segment just a few days ago on my top running back targets in 2019 that the Raiders could go for. You got Tevin Coleman, Jay Ajayi, Leonard Fournette, who is not going to be a free agent, but he could be cheap because the Jags are trying to get rid of him because he's just dealing with some prima donna stuff there. I mean, we're just going to be real. He's only 23 years old. Maybe needs to wisen up a little bit. I think Gruden can get him to wise up. Mark Ingram at age 29 wants to get out of the shadow of Alvin Kamara. And then probably the top free agent this offseason, it's Le'Veon Bell. If you could tell me which one I would pick from all those in terms of money, age, workload, I like Tevin Coleman. I like Mark Ingram. Those are my top 2 guys for the Raiders just in terms of all that. And talent, it's Le'Veon Bell. So, will the Raiders draft a running back in the first round this year? I want you to type 1 for yes or type 2 for no. And you kind of already know what I think. But if you guys want to give me your top 5 running backs in the NFL draft class, slide in on my DMs at MitchellRenz365. My last rumor here is a blockbuster. So are you sitting down? I'll give you a second. Maybe you want to get a beer. You ready? Here we go. Are the Raiders going to trade Derek Carr for Odell Beckham Jr.? Yeah, you heard that right. This one's only 1 Chucky head, though, and I think it's a small shred of truth. So this rumor is from the Daily News, and Man, this stuff, if this comes out daily, I'm going to have my blood pressure checked literally on the daily, because this one almost gave me a heart attack when I read it. So, Gettleman, the Giants GM, is searching for a potential Eli Manning replacement at the quarterback position, but the issue is the Giants also just lack a lot of depth throughout their roster. So how can they address this issue? Maybe by sending Odell Beckham Jr. to the Raiders in exchange for a blockbuster package headlined by Derek Carr and the 24th pick in the draft here for the Raiders. So Carr's 27, and also he's got a Giant connection because his older brother David backed up Manning. So this is what the Daily News is saying. These aren't my words. The Giants would eat $16 million in dead cap money by trading Beckham. So you might be telling yourself the Giants won't eat that kind of money, right? Well, they just ate $15 million trading Jason Pierre-Paul to the Buccaneers last year. That's all I'm saying. Just saying that. So when you go back here and you look at Odell Beckham's 2018 season, it's a good one. It's a pretty good season. He played in only 12 games. He had 77 catches. He had 1,052 yards, 6 touchdowns. But that's okay. And it's sad to say that in 12 games, that's a down year for OBJ. Because when you look at this dude's career stats, they're eye-popping. So, 59 games, 390 receptions, 5,476 yards, and 44 touchdowns. OBJ is, I think, no doubt one of the better wide receivers in the NFL. Heck, you could argue he's the best wide receiver in the NFL, or maybe he's had the best start to a career by receiver. Now, you could also argue that, okay, it's because the NFL has changed a lot. It's because it's a little bit softer. It's hard to cover some of these players, and I hear you loud and clear. But at the end of the day, Odell Beckham Jr. is an unbelievable talent, and he's going to put butts in seats. I can guarantee you that. So this was the rumor, or this was the trade rumor that they came up with from the Daily News. And, it's Giants are going to receive Derek Carr and a first-round pick in 2019, which is the 24th pick, which we got in a trade. And then the Raiders receive Odell Beckham Jr. Call me crazy. I necessarily don't really mind this all that much. And, I understand I am always on here saying we shouldn't trade Derek Carr. And I don't think we should trade Derek Carr. But if we can get Odell Beckham Jr., I don't really hate it all that much. But, guys, this show is not about me. I want to know from you, and I want you guys to be able to comment on this show with me. We're going to interact. Derek Carr, first-round pick for Odell Beckham Jr. Come on. Who says no? If you're watching on Facebook, give me a like for yes or give me a heart for no. OBJ for Derek Carr and the 24th pick. If you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube, give me a like for yes, a heart for no. If you're watching on YouTube, comment below yes or no. If OBJ goes to the Raiders, I would love to see how many games they're projected to win, and I'd be willing to bet on that it's going to be over 8. And the one place I'm going to do that is at BETDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. Go to chatsports.com/bet and use that promo code LIVE120 for 120% deposit bonus. It's the best deposit bonus on the internet. You put down $50, you'll get $60 for free. You put down $100, get $120 for free. Put down $500, get $600 for free. Shout out to BetDSI for hooking up Chat Sports with the best promo code on the internet. Raider Nation, what's going on? Is this the #1 Raiders channel on YouTube? For Chucky Heads, believe it, baby. And if you haven't already, subscribe right here. I'm giving you Chucky Heads, news, rumors, Raider Nation rumors. And look at this, I'm making your life easier. Check out my next video. Thanks for watching, and go Raiders.